Alrighty, everybody. So like I said, yesterday we went over pretty much converting lengths. That's what we went over. It was unit of measurement of lengths. Today, we're going to unit of measurement of weight. So yesterday, very quick little review yesterday. What were the measurements that we were using? What were all the different ones? Yes, it was inches to feet, feet to yards, and yards to miles, right? Today, like I said, we're going over weights, the standard stuff of weights. And what's going to help you? Memorizing some more. Memorizing some more units. This is how standard it is. That's all you guys got to memorize. Well, not all you got to memorize, but in real life scenarios, in the word problems, and in the day after tomorrow's quiz, it's going to be really helpful for you to memorize this. This could be used in everyday situations. Here, what we use are ounces, pounds, and tons. Everyone has heard about that, right? No? Yes, we have. And just like yesterday, we're going to be learning how to distinguish different questions, different units of measurement, such as how many, we're going to the simple one first, how many ounces are in 2 pounds? How many ounces are in 2 pounds? By the way, if you have not already realized, these are the symbols used for pounds. IB for pounds, OZ for ounces, T for tons, all right? So, how many ounces are there in 2 pounds? So, we have a 32 here. How did we get that? Well, you guys should have remembered from yesterday. You always want to ask yourself how many there are in 1 pound first. As in, how many ounces are in 1 pound? Well, it says it right there already for us, right there. It is 16. So if you go up 1 to 2, this 16 basically gets multiplied by 2. You pretty much add another 16, which ends up becoming 32. That's a very simple one. Very, very straightforward. But it's an exact replica of yesterday's work. You use the same system in place. Alrighty. And obviously, just like yesterday, we're going to have some questions that might need a little extra brainstorming. For instance, what if it says, how many ounces are there in 4 tons? How many ounces are in 4 tons? So obviously there's no what's it called, little section here that says for every 1 ton there is who knows how many ounces. That's our job to figure it out. What we got to do is figure out first of all, how many ounces there are in 1 ton. So do we remember how to do that? Select, let's move it over a little bit. Okay, what was your idea? Well, we use this pound to our advantage. All right? We use that pound to our advantage. So, if we know, let's just pretend there are in 1 pound. Let's say this is a box that weighs 1 pound, right? And inside of it, that's a lot more than 16, but it's fine. Let's pretend there are 16 ounces inside those 1 pounds, right? What you could do is take a very, very long time, and what you could do is draw pretty much 2,000 boxes, right? And why 2,000? Well, because look here, it says there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. But I don't want, you could waste your time and draw 2,000 boxes with 16 ounces in each one. 16 there, 16 there, 16 there, 16 there, 16 there, 16 there, right? Do that all the way up until 2,000, and then add up all of those 16s, right? 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus all the way leading up all the way up to 2,000 mark, right? And then that total is how many ounces there are in 1 ton and 1 ton only, right? But obviously we don't want to waste our time. What could we do? What's the shortcut? Get that 16 and just times it by 2,000. There are 16 ounces in 1 pound, which means there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. So all you got to do is get your 16 and multiply it by 2,000. That's what we got to do. 16 times 2,000 equals louder. Let me erase all of this because we don't want any of that. So here we had 2,000 times 16. What is 2,000 times 16? I'm just going to jump ahead and give you the answer. It is 32,000, right? So we did that so we could make our own little thing here. Our own little rule. We now have how many ounces there are in 1 ton. You could remember that. You could literally write that and then forever have it to your advantage. You now know there are 32,000 ounces in 1 ton. So, why did we do that? How does that help us? What do you think the next step is? What is the next step? If we already have this that we just figured out, How could this help us in solving this problem right here? How many ounces are there in 4 tons? Yeah. 32,000 for 1 ton. How many are there in 2 tons? Well, it's 32 times 2. How many are there in 3 tons? Well, it's just 32,000 times 3. How many are there in 4 tons? It's just 32,000 times 4. So you do that. You do 32,000 times 4. What does that become? Well, 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3? 128,000 ounces in 4 tons. 128,000 ounces in 4 tons. That's a lot. So now before we move on, even though that's pretty much it, did we understand that?
The homework from yesterday?
No, this is today's work. Yesterday we were going over length, which is the same concept.
Yeah.
We have a little rule, or not a rule, a guideline of ounce. What was yesterday? Was inches to feet, feet to whatever, yards to miles and whatnot, right? Well, today all we're doing is the same thing, but now involving weight. Why just pounds, ounces, and tons? Is because that's the most used here in America. And is the most useful in everyday life. When you see a package of something weighing something ounces, you want it, but you're used to your head always reading things in pounds, you can now convert it. You can now know how many pounds that jar of whatever weighs. All right? Babies, when they come out, brand new, brand new babies, they weigh something ounces, right? And you're just like, how heavy is that? I'm used to pounds. Now you know how to convert ounces to pounds. That's the point of all of this. How about we do one more? Yes. Okay. So there's my cheat sheet, right? Everybody should memorize this, all right? Let's say I want to know how many what could I create? How many let's go back to a more simpler one. So, how many ounces are in 6 pounds? We're going back to the simpler one here. How many ounces are there in 6 pounds? You use this to our advantage, right? If we know there are 16 ounces in 1 pound, all we got to do is get that 16 ounces right there, 16, and times it by 6. Right? What's 6 times 6?
36.
What's 6 times 1? Plus 3. There are 96 ounces in 6 pounds. Right? Right? Cool. Simple. Easy peasy. That's because it's a straightforward one. We have ounces to 1 pounds already. Let's do another one of the examples that we just went over earlier. It's a tons. How many ounces are in 3 tons? How many ounces are in 3 tons? Well, did anyone write down the notes of how many ounces there are in 1 ton? We already did the math, right? What was the little cheat sheet we created? How many ounces are there in 1 ton? 32,000. There are 32,000 ounces in 1 ton. How did we get that? Well, all we did was we got this 16. We know 16 is in 1 pound, right? And we know there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. So all we did was get the 16, and we times it by 2,000 to create 32,000, right? This is a rule. It's our rule. We invented that. You could have that forever. It's not going to change, right? So make sure you have that. So now ask yourself, how many ounces are there in 3 tons? Well, it's just this 32. All it is 32,000 3 times. What's 32,000 3 times? 96,000 ounces in 3 tons. In 3 tons. Pretty cool, huh? So it's literally an exact replica of yesterday's stuff, except now we're messing with weights. Now, I am pretty sure you guys could do the math. I'm sure you can, just like we just did, right? But it's about memorizing, because, oh yeah, this is the special class. Everyone's taking the GED, right? That's beautiful. You're not allowed to take in notes. So guess what? You got to go in with memory. Accommodations, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're lucky. Well, not everyone is allowed to take in notes. So you got to go in there with memory. And in real life, again, you're not going to be taking out these notes every now and then. You should remember, these are standard weights. This is standard U.S.'s contemporary units of measurement. You guys should know that there are 16 ounces always in 1 pound, and there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. And shoot, if you have enough space in your brain to memorize even more stuff, there are 32,000 ounces in 1 ton. Cool. Any questions? We ready to do this? Let's do this.